Hello and welcome to another episode of Overloading Friends. Today's going to be a little bit of a different video than normal. I've played the Battlefield 2042 beta for about 6 hours now, maybe a little bit more, and I felt like making a video discussing what I liked and didn't like about it. To start, it was okay. For a beta and what it was decent enough. It was nice though to play a shooter that wasn't a battle royale. I fucking despise them. All battle royales. Apex barely gets this slide. Rest of them trash. However, I would like to state that I'm not a Battlefield, veteran. I haven't played most of the games. Never was really a big fan of them when I was younger. This is, for the most part, the first one that I'm really sinking my teeth into and giving it a chance. So give everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt. Not really. This is my first experience with Battlefield, for the most part. The gunplay, right? We'll start with that, right? The gunplay wasn't the greatest. I couldn't change look sensitivity on PC with a controller, which really hampered what I thought of the game. I'll cover it more in a little bit, but the controller compatibility was abysmal in this game. Overall, it was okay. I felt like the hit detection could be a little hit or miss. It wasn't super tight. I felt like a lot of times I was shooting people and it wasn't counting, and other times the game kind of just gave it to me and I would kill people when I really didn't deserve it. And kind of in conjunction with that, the class system was okay. They kind of did a thing with like Call of Duty, right, where they take a class and give them a character instead of having the gunner class, right? You're Martin, right, the gunner, which I could care less about. I don't really care which way they go with that. But I did like the grappling hook, the sentry turret, the healing gun was cool. I did like that everybody could revive each other too. I did like that. The weapons felt okay for the most part. I feel like there might be some balancing issues with the default assault rifle that you start with. I found that towards the end of the beta's runtime, literally everybody was running that gun or the sniper rifle. So that might be a problem. Then again, it might just be the beta. But I was getting sniped with that assault rifle and getting killed in 1 or 2 hits with it semi-routinely. So that isn't very fun. I didn't like that. And then I hit level 10 and I only had 1 sniper rifle, marksman rifle, and shotgun, I think. And then I had 2 assault rifles and SMGs. So there weren't that many guns in the beta, unless if you had to hit really high level to unlock more of them. But that's not really something I'm going to hold to the beta too much, because we're obviously getting a lot more. But I hope that a lot is kind of important. I hope we get maybe triple the amount we have right now. We need more guns than what we have. And the new mechanic where you can change your attachments on the fly with the guns was amazing. I really like that idea. Wasn't implemented perfectly. Again, could use more attachments and maybe even attachment slots, like modifying more than just the barrel, sights, magazine, and ammo type, and then your stock for the most part, like a grip. Maybe you could add a few more. My biggest complaint with the system is that on the computer with a controller, it doesn't work. You can hold down the button to pull it up, but you can't switch attachments. You can't equip things. So that's a big problem for me. I don't really like playing shooters on my PC with my keyboard and mouse, so that's another case where the controller doesn't really work, right? But I'm kind of concerned because of how the UI is set up for it. It doesn't really seem like they have space to give themselves more than 12 overall attachments, with including the 4 default ones that you start the gun off, which is just base, right? So you only have 2 attachment slots in each spot, and it doesn't look like they have much more room to add more than that. So that's a concern. They might not add any more, which would be bad. Overall, I think the graphics on the game were okay. I had to turn them down a lot because performance was an issue. By the way, performance was a massive issue. I could barely play the game at times, particularly in the beginning. And just to save any amount of performance I could, I turned the graphics like off pretty much. What you guys are seeing is the lowest settings, and it still has a decent amount of frame rate drops and such with it, which again I assume will be fixed when the game actually comes out. I hope that this isn't gonna stay the same, that the beta is an accurate representation of the performance issues that we'll see. The map, right? I understand that Battlefield is supposed to have a massive map for the most part, right? Because it's supposed to be a large-scale battlefield. This map felt a little too big, personally. I would have been okay with if they shrunk the map down a little bit. This wasn't necessary for it to be this large. It took me a good 5 minutes sometimes to get to the place I would want to go on foot. Kind of have to get into a vehicle. One that flies. And due to it being so large and spread out, it felt very sniper friendly. There was also, at times, a lack of cover. There are parts of this map that just don't have a lot of cover to use, which is a concern for the most part. And with that, there's almost no buildings to be in. Each of the control points has a building in it, maybe two if you're lucky. And those buildings are incredibly small, right, with almost no cover. And because of that, people still kind of use their mid to long range guns inside. I didn't see a single person use the shotgun. And honestly, I didn't use it either until pretty much the end of my second play session with it. And it was decent, but just, it's such a large map that it feels weird to have a shotgun class. I hope that the other maps are smaller. That's what I was getting at it with it. I hope that this is just one of the largest maps on this game mode. I hope in the future that they might be a little bit smaller or something be changed. And with the map, right, I feel like there weren't 128 players on the map. I feel like there weren't 64 players on my team ever. I didn't feel like there was ever that many people on my side, right, along with the enemy team. I think one match I was able to count 25 people on the map when I was loading in, which is less than half of what the team size is supposed to be. Again, it's a beta, so they might have it kind of downsized for us, but they didn't say that, weren't upfront with it. And I thought for a beta they might have wanted to playtest that, see how stable it could be. Do with that what you will. The loading screens weren't bad though. I loaded into a match incredibly quickly. That was good. And the load screens on top of that weren't bad. So match time, like match queue wasn't really a thing. Loaded in was pretty much as soon as I pressed the button, and the load screens themselves weren't that bad. And the first day I played this, the bugs weren't that bad. I had a big problem with my controller disconnecting on every death, so I had to alternate in between my controller and my mouse and keyboard frequently. But the second day I played it, I had massive bugs consistently. I would routinely spawn under and outside of the playable area and die. I had enemies who were invincible. I had enemies who were flying. Yeah, it wasn't good. There was plenty of animation bugs. There was plenty of times where somebody was dead, but they were still standing up and even doing some animations. Kinda bad. But overall, I did have a decent time on it. It was fun to run around and blow stuff up and fight people on it. When you get into the nitty-gritty details of it and whether or not to buy it, if this is how the game's going to be performing in November, I wouldn't really say yes. But for the beta, as it is right now, it was fun, decent, and I would say pick it up if you have a chance, if it's still up for you. But overall, it was okay. I'm very concerned for the actual release of this game, though. They have a lot to fix and not a lot of time. But I digress. That's my tirade about Battlefield. There's a few goods, a couple of bads. A lot of worry, though. If you sat here and listened to me talk for this long, I thank you. We'll get back onto playing Baldur's Gate and maybe even a couple other games. Back to my routine, normal stuff next week. Until then, I wish you luck on the battlefield.